you guys were on air live informing all of us as it was happening.
Yes, Chief Meteorologist Kevin Craig and I, we were live during the tornado warning, and it issued over our Fox 17 studio. So when we were there, we were initially tracking those storms, knowing that they were going to be arriving shortly after 7 p.m. and then they developed. And so during that time frame, a tornado warning issued, and some of us had to go and be in shelter, and I did momentarily, but I knew that I needed to come back. And Chief Meteorologist Kevin Craig, he stayed on air the entire time to make sure that everyone was aware of that tornado warning so that we could notify people to be safe. And the reason that we did that, the reason that we stayed on air even during a time when it was certainly a very destructive moment, is because of situations just like this. So this is exactly where the tornado began and where it touched down by the National Weather Service. They did their survey here and confirmed that this is where it likely began, an EF1 tornado with wind speeds of 110 miles per hour on the ground for about 15 minutes. In addition to that, it was traveling 8.7 miles. Now, this might not look like much at home right now, but in comparison to these apple trees that should be standing tall, completely flattened, it just shows the strength of the tornado and the strength of the winds. Another thing that I want to point out, they're starting to clean up some of these posts, but off in the distance, the posts were actually falling in different directions. So this is a good indication that it was not straight line winds, but in fact it was a tornado. And that is why the National Weather Service comes out, they do these surveys, they find out, was it in fact a straight line wind, which can still be very destructive and very strong, or was it a tornado that had the rotation? So in this case, it was a tornado. As we take a look at our latest data comparing when we last had an EF1 tornado, the last time we had an EF1 tornado with 110 mile per hour wind specifically was on July 6th, 2014. So this has been quite some time. Taking a look at the path of this storm, it actually traveled again 8.7 miles with a width of 100 yards, which is about the size of a football field, which is very wide, and it created devastation all across West Michigan last night. Snapped trees, damage to homes, in addition to power outages and widespread devastation, more than just this apple orchard here. Another indication of what we use whenever there is a tornado warning, and what Chief Meteorologist Kevin Craig and I were looking at, is the velocity. The velocity on the radar is very important during moments like last night. It shows us the wind speed and it shows us the wind direction. So whenever the green and the red is mixing together, it represents the green is wind going to the radar and the red is going away. So when we see that mix, the green and the red, it represents that there is rotation, and that is what we saw last night. Very close to Belmont is where we had that confirmed tornado warning, again traveling 8.7 miles. But I do want to say something really important. Right now, I am standing specifically at Morse Brothers Apple Orchard, and the family came up and they were talking to me and just talking about this devastation that they have had to their crops. And the thing that they took away from it was that no one from their family was hurt, that they are okay, their home is okay, and that's what's important. Taking shelter, being safe, that's what's important during a tornado warning. And so they were also so kind to give us some apples as well, so I'll be sharing those with my Fox 17 News family. But honestly, just a true representation of the beauty that sometimes a really bad storm can bring a bright light at the end of it.